lecturer in civil engineering. Today also we will learn another new topic. So in previous class, we have completed the chain surveying. So the last part in chain surveying, or last topic in chain surveying is obstacles in chain surveying and area calculations. So that we have been completed in last class. So with that, I can conclude the chain surveying. Okay. Today we will go for the another new instrument called compass surveying. So today's topic is compass surveying. So before entering into the compass surveying, I can again recall the topics which we have discussed in chain surveying. So the chain surveying is the basic surveying. So in chain surveying, we have discussed about principle and purpose of chain surveying. The principle is triangulation, chain triangulation, and we have gone through a different instrument used in chain surveying, and also we have learned about the errors in chain surveying, field work in chain surveying, obstacles in chain surveying, area calculations. So area calculations can be done by from field work or by graphical method. So field work, example, cross staff survey we have discussed, and area from the graphical. So two divisions or two cases are there. By considering the entire area first and then boundary area. So to calculate the boundary areas, we have discussed about 4 rules. So those are the mid-ordinate rules, average ordinate rules, Simpson's rule, and trapezoidal rules. So by using these 4 rules or 3 rules, we discussed 3 rules because the first one, mid-ordinate rule, is outdated. We are not using now. That's why I did not cover it. And we are using only 3 rules. So among these 3 rules, I have more concentrated on trapezoidal rule and Simpson's rules, as these are very important one, and we can get accurate area by using these 2 rules. That is trapezoidal rule and Simpson rules. So that we have discussed in chain surveying. So chain surveying. Before chain surveying, we have discussed introduction to surveying. In that, we have discussed a different classification of surveying based on various things, based on 4 things. That is, based on instrument used, based on methods employed, based on objects of surveying, and based on the nature of the field. So we have discussed this one. So based on the instrument used, there are different types of surveyings. Those are chain surveying, compass surveying, plane table surveying, etc., etc. Based on instrument used means the instruments which we are using to conduct the surveying. Based on that, there are different types. If we are using chain as an instrument and we are conducting surveying, then it is known as chain surveying. So that's why we have discussed chain surveying in previous classes. Hope you all understood. The basic instrument survey, the basic instrument is chain. So hope you all understood this one. If you have any doubts, you can contact me or you can consult me. Otherwise, we will go for the next step. What is the basic principle of chain surveying? Yeah, chain triangulation. Triangulation. So today we are going to learn another new topic, that is compass survey. Compass is the instrument which is used to conduct the survey. Okay, so that is the second instrument we are going to learn today. So today about compass surveying, today we are going to discuss about the purpose and principle of compass surveying. So what are the purpose of using this compass surveying, why we are using this compass surveying, and what is the principle involved in this compass surveying? Today we will learn. Can I start? Okay. Objectives of compass survey. On completion of this period, you would be able to State the purpose and principle of compass surveying, identify the parts of prismatic compass, and state their functions of the parts of prismatic compass. Okay, so then first introduction. Before, so I can recap the topics which we have covered in chain surveying briefly. So, what is the principle of surveying? What are the fundamental principle of surveying? We have discussed in first topic. Work from whole to part, and to locate a new station by at least 2 measurements. So those 2 measurements may be either linear or angular, or one linear or one angular, or 2 angulars from a fixed reference point. So that is the second principle. How do you apply the first principle? According to the first principles, the whole area is first enclosed by main stations and main survey lines. So I have discussed in compass surveying main stations and main survey lines. What do you mean by station? Yeah, it is a instrument placement place. So where we are placing the instrument to conduct the surveying, the place is known as station. What do you mean by main stations? So we have discussed what do you mean by main stations, subsidiary stations, all those things. And then main survey lines. What do you mean by survey lines? The line which are joining the stations are known as survey lines. If the lines are joining the main stations, then that is known as main survey lines. Okay. And then divide into a number of parts by forming well-conditioned triangles. Main survey lines are measured very accurately with a standard chain. So main survey lines are measured with the standard chains. So that is we have discussed those things we have discussed in last class. Next, according to the second principle, the new stations should always be fixed by at least 2 measurements from fixed reference points. So what is the second fundamental principle of surveying? Yes, fixing points. So by taking one reference points, we are fixing 2 lines. Linear measurements refer to horizontal distances measured by chain or tape. Angular measurements refer to the magnetic bearings or horizontal angles taken by a prismatic compass or theodolite. So now we can come into our compass surveying. So in order to take the linear measurements means distances, areas. So in order to measure the linear measurements, we have used either chain or tape. So in previous classes, the total previous classes has been concentrated on taking linear measurements only. We could not take any angular measurements in chain survey. Can we? No. So with the help of tape or chain, we can measure the linear measurements only. So that to satisfy the fundamental principle, first principle, that is working from whole to part. So that can be satisfied by our chain or tapes. So that is the linear measurements can be taken. So if at all any angles or bearings has to taken. So we cannot use chain as an instrument or tape. So we need another angular measurements instruments, either a compass or theodolite. So our second fundamental principle is take angular measurement. Second principle is locate the new stations by taking at least 2 measurements. So that is the second principle. So to satisfy this one, so those two stations are two reference points may be either linear or angular, or one linear or one angular. So here you can see that. So here angular measurements also be taken in second case. So that's why we need some angular measurements instruments. So for measuring the angular measurements or bearings or horizontal angles by prismatic compass or theodolite. So that is the case. That's why we need a angular measurements instruments. Angular measurement instrument. Okay. So then coming to the introduction of the compass survey. Why we are selecting compass surveying? Hope you all understood. So yeah, to measure the angular measurements, we need a angular measuring instrument. So the first instrument, the simple instrument we can use to measure the angles or compass. Okay. So then coming to the introduction. So in chain surveying, the area is to be surveyed is divided into connected triangles and only linear measurements are taken. The chain surveying is suitable when the area to be measured is small and fairly flat. All of you know, when we are adapting chain surveying, when the area is to be surveyed or measured is flat, there is no any undulations on that area, and the area to be which is to be surveyed is small, then only we can use the chain survey. However, when the area to be surveyed is large, then chain surveying alone is not sufficient. The directions and the angles also to be measured. So when the area to be measured is large, and if at all is there any undulation is there, then the chain surveying alone could not sufficient. So then we need another angular measurements instrument. For measuring the directions and angular measurements, the following instruments are to be used. So what are the instruments are used to measure the angular measurements? Yeah, right. So either a prismatic compass or that means a compass or theodolite box sectant. So those are the instruments can be used to measure the angular measurements. And then coming to the purpose and principle of compass surveying. So the quite opposite purposes of chain surveying is the compass surveying purposes. You can say anyone, when the area to be surveyed is large, then we need compass surveying, right? Next, when the area is undulated and chaining is difficult, that means the area to be surveyed has more number of undulations. Undulations means ups and downs, and the chaining is difficult, then we need compass survey. When the area cannot be divided into triangles, for example towns, urban areas, etc. When the area to be 1 minute, I will show. Okay, when the area to be surveyed is not possible to divide the area into number of triangles, then we need compass surveying. When the surveying is to be done in a dense forest, so though we have the obstacles methods, all those things, but we cannot find the correct area or correct length. So if the area to be surveyed is covered with a dense forest, then we can simply using this compass surveying, and we can measure the area. When the surveying is to be completed quickly, when the surveying is to be completed quickly, we need compass surveying. When the area to be surveyed is long and narrow, example roads or railways, streams. Then we can, using compass surveying, we can quickly find out these narrow places. Okay, so that those are the purpose of compass surveying. Okay, and the principle, what is the principle of compass surveying? So it is a very important question, as one more question. You can simply you can remember it. The principle of compass surveying is traversing. So there are only two methods. According to the methods employed, there are two types of principles. One is triangulation method. Second one is traversing method. So triangulation method, that is the principle of chain surveying, chain triangulation, and the principle of compass surveying is traversing. So before entering into the principle of compass surveying, so you can know the designations of compass. The size of the compass is expressed in terms of its diameter. So that the size of the compass is expressed in terms of diameter of that one. The compass 12 centimeters or 120 mm means the diameter of the box is 12 centimeters or 120 mm. So according to the diameter of the box, we can conclude the size of the compass. So just now I have said the principle of compass surveying is traversing. Then what do you mean by traversing? We will learn. So traversing means it is a series of connected lines. Traversing means series of connected lines. And there are two types of traversing. One is open traversing and second one is closed traversing. So open traversing means it is a continuous line. Open traversing means continuous lines, not a return back. That means the starting point of the line and the ending point of the other line cannot be joined in open traversing. In closed traversing, opposite to open traversing. So it forms the closed circuit. That means the starting point of the line and the ending point of the another line are coincide with each other. So that is the closed traversing. So you can see the figures. So this is the open traversing. So you can see. So you can see. So this is A and B and C, D. So A, B, C and D. So the point A and other points, either D or B, either D cannot be written back and join this one in open traversing. Okay, so this is the open traversing, connected lines and the lines cannot be written back. So that is the open traversing. Okay, you can see this one. So this is point A and this is point B, this is point C, D, and the point D and A are coincides with each other. That means in closed traversing, it is a closed circuit and the lines are written back and join the starting point. So that is the closed traversing. Is it okay? All right. Okay, so before this one, I can say this one. The principle of compass surveying is traversing. Traversing means it involves a series of connected lines. In traversing, it is not required to form a network of triangles. In compass traversing, the directions of the lines are measured by prismatic or surveyor's compass and the distances are measured by a chain or tape, and the interior details can be located by taking the offsets with the help of chain or tape. So that is the compass surveying or compass traversing. So there are the methods of traversing are chain traversing by chain angle, compass traversing by free needle, theodolite traversing by fast needle, plane table surveying by plane needle. So that is the different methods of the traversing. So we are using in compass surveying, that's why it is known as compass traversing. When is a compass surveying is recommended, or the purposes of compass surveying? You can note that. Compass surveying is recommended when a large area is to be surveyed. Just now we have discussed. Large area is to be surveyed, then we need compass surveying, or we recommend compass surveying. The course of a river or coastline is to be surveyed. So the course of a river or coastline, so that is the narrowest place. So we can use their compass surveying, or we can recommend there the compass surveying. The area is crowded with many details and triangulation is not possible, then we can go for the compass surveying. When the compass surveying is not recommended, so that means the limitations of the compass surveying is where local attraction is suspected due to magnetic materials like steel, iron, or electric cables. At that place, we cannot recommend the compass surveying, because if we recommend there, it may not give the correct value. So that is the compass surveying. Then types of compass. So there are two types of compass. One is prismatic compass, that can measure from 0 to 360 degrees, and second one is surveyor's compass, so that can measure 0 to 90 degrees. So in our lab we have prismatic compass, so we can see the description of prismatic compass, and we can use the prismatic compass in our field work. So this is the prismatic compass. You can see this one. So this one is prismatic compass, and this is the schematic sketch. Prismatic compass. You can see this one. So this is the circular box. So this is a prismatic compass. Now we will see the parts of prismatic compass. So if you know the parts of a compass or any instruments, then you can easily use it a field. So we will see some parts of prismatic compass. The first and foremost part is compass box. Compass box, I will show you. So this is compass box. So this one is compass box. It is a circular 88 to 10 centimeters. That is 80 to 100 mm metallic box. At the center of the box, a pivot is provided. So I will show. So this is the circular box, circular in shape, and it is at 8 to 10 centimeters dia or 80 to 100 mm dia, and it consists of a pivot at its center. So this is the center. So this is pivot. This one is pivot. So that is the first part of the compass surveying. Sorry, compass. And the box is covered with the plain glass at its top. The box is covered with plain glass at its top in order to protect the glass, in order to protect the circular box from any weathering agencies or etc. So that is the compass box. And the function of box is, the circular box is, it holds a magnetic needle and graduated ring freely floating on a pivot located at the center of the box. So it holds the pivot on its pivot. So that and it holds the pivot, and the pivot is consist of a magnetic needle. So the magnetic needle can move freely on its top. So that is the function of this circular box. So this is the box, and this is pivot center of the box, and this is this one is this silver color one is this is the needle, magnetic needle. So the circular box holds the needle in a position and it can be freely floated on its box. So that is the function of circular box. Then second one is magnetic needle. Needle and graduated ring. Second one is magnetic needle. First we will see, then we will go to the graduated ring. On a pivot, the magnetic needle rests. On a pivot, the magnetic needle rests. Aluminum graduated ring is attached to the needle. Graduated ring has 0 degrees to 360 degrees clockwise. That is 0 at south, 90 at west, 180 at north, 270 at east. So that is the graduated ring. So I will show. So this is the needle, magnetic needle, and this is graduated ring. So this circular box is graduated rings, which we are seeing on the compass box. And this box consists of graduations or readings. So from 0 to 360. So the graduations are from 0 to 360. So the 4 east, west, and south and north. So you can see the readings. It consists of 0 at south and 90 at west, 180 at north, and 270 at east. And the least count of compass is 30 minutes. So up to 30 minutes or half degree it can be used to measure. So that is the magnetic needle and graduated ring. So like that the readings were graduated on the circular, that is the graduated ring. You can see like this. And this is north. So the needle always it shows to north direction of our earth. Then we can take the readings. So how can we take the bearings of a line, all those things we will see in later on classes. And the function of magnetic needle and graduated ring. Magnetic needle facilitate in measuring bearings of a survey lines with reference to the magnetic north. And the function of graduated rings is, you can say, we can take the bearings on the graduated rings, or we can measure the bearings of a line up to half degree accurately. Half degree means the least count of the compass survey. And the next one is sight vane and object vane of compass. Sight vane or eye vane, we can say sight vane or eye vane and object vane of compass survey. Sight vane and object vane are fixed diametrically opposite to each other. So I will show the figure. Yeah, right. So this one is, so these are two vanes. So this is one vane, and this is the two vanes. So this is object vane. So the like this. So that is object vane, and this is eye vane. Opposite to the object vane is the eye vane. So these are this eye vane is used to see the object from this object vane, and this object vane is used to fix the object exactly coincide with this horse hair. So in object vane there is a horse hairs, a small thread is there. So that is the horse hairs. From this horse hair, when the object is coincide with this horse hair, we can fix there and we can take the reading of that line. So for that we used object vane and eye vane. You can see on the figure this one. So this is eye vane or sighting vane, and this is object vane. Yeah, sight vane and object vanes are fixed diametrically opposite to each other. Object vane consists of a vertical slits or vertical hairs attached to its frame. Side vein or eye vein or eye slit consist of vertical slits cut into upper assembly of the prism unit. A prism unit is hinged to the box. So we are saying this one at prismatic compass because it consists of a prism at the eye vein. So from this prism we are observing the object in front of our object vein. So that's why we are saying this one as prismatic compass. So eye vein or sighting vein is used to sight the object through object vein. So object vein consists of a slits. They are cross hairs at the center of its frame. So the functions of sight vein or eye vein and object veins are: sight vein is used to sight the object and object vein is used to fix the object with crosshairs, which is provided at the center of its frame. So those are the functions of sight vein and object vein. Then next one is dark glasses. So there are two dark glasses are there provided on the compass surveying at the eye vein. So these nearby the eye vein. So these dark glasses are red in color, red glass and blue glass. So there are two dark glasses. So one is a red color one, second one is blue color one. So the red color one is used to see the luminous object at the night time, and blue color glasses are used to reduce the strain on observer's eye. So these are the two glasses. Then next one is adjustable mirror. A mirror is provided with the sighting vein horizontally, vertically and inclinedly manner. So I can show the mirror which is attached at the object vein of the prismatic compass. So this is the mirror, you can see. So this is object vein, the vertical one. So this one is vertically provided one is object vein, and the glass which is attached from this place. So this one. So this is the mirror. Okay, and this mirror is used to see the far away object through this mirror on this object vein. So that is the purpose of providing that mirror. Yeah, right. Then next one is break pin. So at the base of the sighting vein, if pressed, oscillation is stopped. So break pin is provided at the base of the object vein. I will show. So here, so this is the base of the object vein. Here a pin is provided. So in order to stop the oscillations, so we need to press that break pin. So that is the purpose of break pin. And then lifting pin. Below the sight vein or eye vein, a lifting magnetic needle is provided. So to stop the wear and tear of the object or prism, we can stop the lifting pin. So that is the break pin and lifting pin. Break pin is provided at the base of the object vein in order to stop the oscillations of the needle, and lifting pin is provided below the sighting vein to take care of the prism. So that is the break pin and lifting pin. So two pins are provided. So the function of lifting pin is to avoid the undue wear and tear of the pivot point. So that is the function of lifting pin. So those are the parts of compass. So I can say the parts of compass briefly. So first part is circular box, second part is magnetic needle, and as third part is graduated ring, which consists of graduations, and Fourth part is eye vein and object vein, dark glasses, lifting pin, brake pin. So these are the parts of main parts of the compass surveying. So by knowing the functions of the parts, you can easily handle the instruments called the compass, and you can do the performances in the field. Is it okay to you? Is it clear? Right. Mainly, I think 8 parts. 8 parts are there. Then adjustment of prismatic compass. So what are the adjustments of our temporary adjustments of the prismatic compass? Fixing the compass with tripod stand. So another part is there here, a stand which is used to place the instruments is called tripod stand. So to fix the compass on it, a tripod stand should be fixed, and then we have to center it. Center means it the compass always shows the north direction of the earth, whether it is you should check it whether it is showing north direction of the earth or not. And then level up, level, that means you can bring that magnetic needle to the north direction by adjusting them some parts. And then adjustment of the prism, you can adjust the prism with your up to your eye. Okay, and then you can take the observations of the bearing. So those are the adjustments of prismatic compass. So this is the summary. So far we have discussed about the bearing measuring instruments, that is compass, principle of compass, that is traversing, types of traversing, open and closed, and bearings are measured with the magnetic needle. So these are the frequently asked question. Okay, so then I can stop my lecture here. Briefly again, I can conclude prismatic compass. So there are 2 types of compass. One is prismatic compass and second one is surveyor's compass. We are using prismatic compass, and this can give the degree angles or bearings from 0 to 360. That is a prismatic compass. Why we are using compass? So in order to measure the angular measurements, we are going to the another new instrument called compass, and we have seen the purposes of compass surveying. That is the recommendations of the compass surveying and not recommendation of the compass surveying. That means limitations of compass surveying and principle of compass surveying, and we have some parts of compass surveying, main parts of the compass. So there are 8 parts. You can go through it, and then different types of traversing, open and closed traversing. Okay, hope you all understood. Any doubts? Okay, if you don't have doubts, I can wind up here. Can I? Thank you all.